Yeah, good.
Okay, great. So let's get started. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon if you're joining us from Asia. Thank you for attending this learning lab. And the topic of this session will be risk management. We're going to share with you best practices for how to use Digimind Social for risk management. So how you can detect threats early on, how you can analyze when crises do emerge, how you can analyze them in real time using Digimind Social, and how at the end, once the crisis is over, how you can draw the right lessons to be learned, and how you can share these lessons with everyone, all the stakeholders in your organization. So this is the topic of today. As usually, your guest. For those who don't know us, I'm Anka Matei. I lead the customer education team at Digimind.
Hello, everyone. Nice to have you today. My name is Munir. I'm the customer education trainer, and yeah, welcome to this learning lab session.
Okay, so this is what we have in store for you today. This is the agenda. So we're going to start with an introduction, general introduction about what is reputational risk. And then we're going to switch to the platform and we're going to see how you can set up your platform for risk detection to make sure that it's ready to detect any possible threat. You're going to learn also how to set up an alerting system so you can be aware 24/7. So Munir is going to show you how to set up email alerts. Then we're going to see which graphs and analyses in the 5 Ws in the compare module, which will be more useful for you to help you understand what's going on during a crisis. And we're at the end, Munir is going to share also, show you how you can set up dashboards dedicated to crisis management and how you can share them with all the stakeholders concerned. If you have any questions during the session, don't hesitate or type them in the question bar, and we're going to keep an eye on them. We're going to answer throughout the session or at the end. As usually, if you have attended learning labs in the past, we want to give you each time the opportunity to practice. So after this learning lab, we're going to have access to our training platform, and you can practice everything that you're going to see during this session and make mistakes, test, experiment in order to build up these new skills. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, reputational risk. What is reputational risk? And basically, it's any sort of threat that can damage the reputation of a business, of an organization, of a brand, risking to negatively impact its overall success. And reputational risk is just one of the many types of strategic risks that your business can face. There can be geostrategic risks, there are regulatory risks, social, political, natural. But today, in today's world, and due especially to the rise of social media, reputation risks are at the focus of communication and PR teams and marketing teams. So they will be the focus of today's session. Social media has changed the way brands communicate, and you know this very well. If a customer complains today, we'll do this in front of an audience. Everybody has a smartphone, so we have instant sharing, we have very high virality. We have influencers that have a lot of power, a lot of visibility. We have algorithms that are leading to more and more polarization. So in this context, we can say that no brand it's safe. No brand is protected from reputation risk. So it's very important to be prepared and have a plan in place before a risk hits. So let's have a closer look at the reputation threats. Some will come from internal causes, others can come from external causes. So this is just to name just a few. Among the internal causes, these are actions of the company or actions done by the company's employees. So we're talking here of unethical behavior, environmental impact, failure to respect compliance and regulation, product failure, service failure, data breaches. Sometimes crises start from a failed marketing campaign that is not being understood as it was intended. We can have employees engaging in unethical behavioral, especially if you're talking about CEOs and founders. And then we can have threats that are external. So the same problems, but coming from a partner or from a supplier can spill over and affect the image of your brand. And then there is criticism coming from consumers, coming from past employees, coming from activists. So these are just examples of the kind of threats that brands have to watch for. But we want to argue that not all is lost. Social media can be a sword with two edges. The glass is also half full. So because social media is direct, it's engaging, it helps you reach immediately and target the right people. It's also a great tool for dealing with crises when they emerge. So we're going to see how Digimind Social will help you manage reputational risk. And there are actions that you will take before a crisis, actions to be taken during a crisis, and actions at the end of the crisis. So all part of your crisis plan. Before the crisis, you have to make sure that your Digimind Social is set up and ready to detect any threat. So this can help you buy very valuable time. Also, once we collect these conversations, it's important to be able to isolate them from the other discussions around your brand. And these you can do with the help of tags. And also, before the crisis, it's important to already have an alerting system in place, so that will give you 24/7 awareness of what's going on, so you can be alerted directly by email. Now, if the inevitable happens and you do detect a crisis, in this case, Digimind will help you analyze in real time the development of the crisis using the 5 Ws, using the compare module, and will help you also as the crisis unfolds to make sure that you communicate not only externally but also internally, and all the stakeholders are informed. So you're sharing the insights from Digimind Social with all the stakeholders in your organization. And once the crisis is over, hopefully, the dashboards will also help you share the lessons with everyone concerned. So make sure those lessons are learned and you take the right actions to prevent that situation from happening again. Okay, so we took an example to illustrate all of this. If some of you have attended our previous learning lab that was dedicated to campaign analysis, we took the example of Dove and a marketing campaign that they ran this year, Turn Your Back, where they took position against the usage of beauty filters on TikTok, on Instagram. And it was a campaign that was very well received. They received a lot of appraisal, a lot of awards. But actually, as we were setting up the topic and preparing the previous learning lab, we noticed that they were facing a crisis. So there was an ongoing crisis. So we're going to take this as an example to illustrate the best practices for dealing with crisis this time. So what happened, the crisis was due due to Dove's decision to partner with a controversial activist. So Ziana Bryant, which is a Black Lives Matter activist, also fat liberation activist, but it's a controversial figure because she was accused in the past of unfairly accusing a fellow student that led to this student being unfairly expelled. So because of these ethical concerns around this person, of course, Dove faced a crisis, and many consumers started to ask for the boycott of their products. Okay. And also beyond this crisis, we also set up the platform to look at the other threats that a Dove such as brand might be facing. And we've created you might be familiar with these grids. They're very useful for risk management. So we have mapped here the potential threats that we imagine for a brand such as Dove, ranking them, mapping them in accordance to the impact, so risk to have a high impact, but also on the horizontal axis, the probability of that threat to happen, to affect the brand. So you can use this type of grid to decide which are the threats that you want to keep a close eye on. So this will be threats with high probability of happening, and also that risk to seriously impact the reputation of your brand. Okay, so this is for the introduction to risk management. Now let's turn our attention to the platform, and this will be our best practices for making sure that your topic is set up and ready to detect any possible threat. When we're talking about collection, we have to think of two features, the queries and the custom sources. So both of them will play an important role and will assure that you're not missing out on any relevant conversation. For the queries, so you have to make sure that your queries contain the brand handles. When a customer will complain about your brand, it's very likely to use the handle. And this is a different keyword from just the name of the brand or the hashtag. So make sure your queries contain the brand handles. Make sure you are adding any hashtags specific to the crisis. So if there is a new hashtag asking for the boycott of your brand, make sure to add them to the keywords monitored by your queries. And also sometimes you will want to add also keywords associated to other threats, more general. Can be pollution, discrimination, so all the threats that we've listed before. And of course, not all queries are built in the same way. it depends a lot on the name of your brand. If you are working for IKEA, let's say, so this is a brand with a very specific name. So your query will not need to be very complex, but just by monitoring the name of the brand, the brand handle, you will be able to detect all the threads around the brand. However, the moment where a specific hashtag emerges, like imagine boycott IKEA, you can update. So you will have to update your query, and using the OR operator, add this hashtag as a standalone keyword that is going to collect conversation. So if somebody is just using boycott IKEA but forgetting to mention the brand, you are sure to not to miss out on that conversation. Now, things will be a bit more complicated if your brand has a more generic name, and this is the case of our example, Dove. So here, just by adding Dove, you're going to have a lot of noise. So for this type of query, you probably have you're using the AND operator or maybe the near operator in order to associate the name of the brand with some context keywords. And also you're probably using the not operator to exclude some keywords. If your query has this structure, so make sure that you add, so among the context keywords that you are associating to your brand, make sure you add also the threads, okay? And if there are any specific hashtags like boycott Dove, this one we can simply add it using the OR operator because it's very specific. We don't need to associate it using the AND. So this is how the query would look in this case. If you have doubts of when to update the query, how to update it, you can refer to this table that that we have added here. So you just need to ask yourself two questions: is my brand, is the name of my brand specific or is it generic? And how about the hashtag? So based on that, you'll see if you need to update the query, and if you do, which will be the best operator to use. Can you add it as a synonym using or should you add it as a context keyword using and or near? So you can refer to this if you are in doubt. And of course, if you need more help with query building, there are a lot of resources in the Digimind Academy, in the Help Center, where you can learn how to build queries. Okay, moving on. So we've covered the queries, but I was saying also don't forget about custom sources. They also play an important role. And here is the place where you should add. So let's say that the boycott Dove hashtag is being used on Instagram. So by adding it not only to the queries, but also in the custom sources, will allow us to use Instagram API and collect even more conversations. So we're basically maximizing the conversations that we collect to make sure that we don't miss out on anything. If you're monitoring TikTok and LinkedIn, also make sure you're adding the hashtags and you monitor them in these two platforms. And also in the custom sources, make sure you add here, so any detractors. For our example, we have added the TikTok profile of the ambassador. We have added the Twitter, the Instagram profiles in order to keep a close eye on their actions. And of course, you can add the profiles of any relevant opinion leaders that are speaking out with regards to this controversy. Okay, so this was for making sure we collect everything. And now I'm going to let Munir show you how you can use tags to classify these conversations?
Yes, thank you, Anka. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. All right, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, I think I need to. Okay, can you share your screen on your side, or?
So the idea behind tags is that they will simply help you isolate, in our case here, the conversation centered around the crisis from the other mentions collected about your brand. So if we take a look at the Dove topic, we can see that we can isolate mentions about boycott Dove, for instance, here, or if I just go ahead here and switch to our dedicated training platform, we can see that we can go to the mentions here, and under the lists of tags, we have put together a list of potential threats that are like continuous threats all around the year, something about Unilever or something about the pricing. And here you can see for each tag, we have set it up to be automatically applied. And we can see here from the pricing, for instance, pricing is applied whenever there's pricing, expensive, not worth it, I pay too much or overpriced. And we can add more keywords whenever we detect them in the future. This way we can only isolate the mentions related to pricing or any other mentions here that we have that could be related to threats. Here we have put also we separated also the crisis management related to Diana Bryant. So if I go here and click on it, I have chosen from 1st August till the end of this month. And I have covered all the mentions related to Diana Bryant. In this case here, you can see that the tag would be applied whenever we talk about Diana Bryant, we mention her name directly in the content, whenever we mention also with the handle, or whenever we put the hashtag. And you can add more if you think that are relevant. So yeah, this way you can simply distinguish the mentions related to Diana Bryant crisis, and we can also do something with the earned and owned media content. So in this case here, you can just go ahead and create your own content and publish it on your own platforms. And Digimind is able also to collect this these kind of information or these kind of mentions. And here you would like to separate these two in order to help you quickly isolate your brand's response from the public's opinion. And in this case, if you don't have this owned and earned media tag set up, just go ahead and reach out to your success manager and they can help you set them up, because they have some kind of advanced setup to be done. So in this case here, you can say, for instance, Diana Bryant, and we can say just earn media and take a look at the results from here. Right, next we can see how we can set up some email alerts in order to have some kind of proactive crisis management. So the goal here is that they enable you to be aware of what's you're going on without being logged to the platform. They help you detect a bad buzz early on, allowing you to respond to before a full-blown crisis unfolds. And using Digimind Social here, we can set up email alerts by clicking on alerts from here, and then setting up the recipients, the threshold. So you have either, you can go either with the threshold or with a daily or given frequency. So each time there is something related to, let's say, for instance, we're still in Diana Bryant's crisis. So I can say here, let's talk about this and get the mentions by email directly in real time whenever there is a new mention talking about this subject here. So you can do that based on the volume of mention also. So you can say, instead of here, I would like to see if there's more than 10 mentions per day related to Zion Bryant, or maybe in general, I would like to receive an instant email telling me, okay, heads up, the threshold here is reached, so maybe we need to take a look at the results. You can also set it for abnormal negative mentions. So in this case, you can just go ahead and select from the negative mentions, or you can look for specific keywords. So we can use the search bar here and find keywords like boycott or any other crisis-related keywords that could be potentially harmful for the brand. Yeah, well, so if you want to learn more about how to create your email alerts, I will send in a bit a link toward the Help Center video tutorial, and you can do it by yourself from your end. Well, that's conclude the first part of my my presentation. Back to you, Anka.
Thank you, Munir. So just one moment. I don't think you're seeing my screen. No, I'm only struggling with this. Okay. I think it should be okay. Okay, so let's next we're going to see how you can analyze in real time an ongoing crisis, and how the insights from Digimind can help you fight the threats. So imagine the alert system that that you set up, that Munir just showed you. So imagine your alerting system lets you know that there is some bad buzz or even a crisis that's going on. The 5 W's and the compare module will help you understand what's going on, and based on this, you are going to craft your response. What you're going to say, where, when, who is going to respond to these accusations against your brand. So let's see which are the most useful the analysis that we would recommend you to keep an eye on in the 5 W's. And the starting point will be the when, the trend analysis. Here you'll be able to see if there is an abnormal level in the volume of mentions. And this can help you understand if it's just bad buzz or actually you are dealing with a crisis. And the threshold that is going to differentiate a simple bad buzz from a crisis, of course, will be different from for every company. You can use the daily average volume of mentions. So what's normal for your company, and based on this, you can decide if it's just bad buzz or is actually you're facing a crisis. The trend analysis will also tell you a lot about the virality of this problem. So some crises can take a longer time to evolve, giving you more time to react, while others will suddenly emerge into a full-blown crisis. The trend graph will tell you also if the crisis is accelerating, if it's pausing, if it has peaked already, if it has started to cool down. And here we're looking at, we see these are all dimensions collected for the brand. We can see the spike, and we can see that the crisis has lasted, was very sudden to emerge, and it has lasted more or less 2 weeks. And it has cooled down, and there are very few conversations now that are still referring to this controversy. Whenever a peak is detected, Digimind will help you also understand what caused it. So if you click on the peak, thanks to the peak analysis feature, here Digimind is it's using AI algorithms that will help you quickly understand what caused this peak. Is it due? Is it an unusual volume for a hashtag or an unusual volume for a topic, or is it due to an influencer with a very large following, or is it due to an unusually high level of interactions? And in order for you also to quickly understand what happened, so without having to scroll to all these mentions, Digimind integrates with ChatGPT. So here on the right side, you're going to find a short summary and quickly understand what's going on. Also in when, it's very important to keep an eye not only on the volume of mentions, but also there are 3 other very important indicators that you are going to find here: the audience, the reach, and the level of interactions. So here we can see so the mentions collected for this controversy. We have isolated only the earned media, so only what the public is saying about this controversy, and we have here the total values. And at a glance, I can see these 4 awareness and engagement KPIs. And maybe it's good to pause here just a bit, because we often get this question in trainings: what's the difference between audience and reach? Audience is the total potential number of people who have been exposed to this controversy. So basically, we are, for all the authors, all the accounts that have been vocal, that have been spoken about this, we will sum up all their followers, and this will be the total audience. The reach, on the other hand, here, this is our estimation of the number of unique persons that have been exposed to this controversy. So it will give you a more realistic view. And then there's the interaction. So here is the total number of likes, of shares, of comments, and this will play an important role on the virality of the topic. Metrics also will. So if you're looking at analyzing the metrics for all the conversations around the brand, you're going to see also how it changed, what was the impact of the crisis, and how the reach, the audience, the interactions, how they changed compared to the previous period. Okay, moving on now to what, in order to understand what is being said. First stop here would be top hashtags, and hashtags play a very important role in shaping the narrative around a crisis. So if there are any hashtags, customers very often will group their comments around conversations. So you might see inflammatory hashtags such as boycott. Here we have indeed there is a boycott Dove, and also there are calls for boycotting Unilever, which is the parent company. And for you as a manager of this social media crisis, it's very important, like we saw before, to add these hashtags to your query, to add them through the custom sources. So they will help you aggregate the conversations. They help not only consumers, but they will be helpful also for you if you know how to use them. Also, going beyond hashtags, in key concepts, here you will see the keywords and the expressions that are associated to your brand. And you can assess how serious these threats are. And based on this, how serious the accusations are, what is the level of the crisis that you detected in when, you can decide who should respond. If it's just bad buzz, a customer complaining about a faulty product, it can be dealt by the with the customer service. If it's something very serious, like in this case, accusations of racism, can justify an intervention even from the CEO. Also can be interesting in what to have a look at the radar graph. So here we have mapped all the threats that we detected at the beginning, and we see here that the current crisis represents now the biggest dimension. So it gathers most of the conversations, so has a higher impact at the moment compared to the other threats. Okay, so we've seen when, what, very important also how, sentiment analysis, and this will help you assess the impact of the crisis on the reputation of your brand. You can keep an eye on the net sentiment trend to see, to understand what was the sentiment surrounding your brand or your organization before the crisis, during the crisis, and after the crisis. So you can see if your brand has managed to recover from this crisis. And this is how you can judge also how effective your response has been. Okay. And in how you can even go beyond a simple positive negative classification, and have a look at emotions. And here you can see the full spectrum of emotions that are being expressed. So you can have surprise, anger, disgust. So it will give you a better understanding of what's hiding behind all these negative sentiments. You can go deeper. It's very interesting to use the compare. So this graph is coming from compare. And you can have a comparison by countries to see if the reputation of your brand has been equally impacted on all the different countries. You can have also a comparison by media type. And this will help you adapt your response to every market, to each platform. Also, another insight coming from compare here, if you perform a deep comparison of sentiments and have a look at what, it can help you see both sides of the argument, and many topics today are very polarizing. So here we can say see the key concepts negative towards DAF decision, and here we can also see those that maybe decide to speak up in defense of DAF. Moving on, where? So where is this, where did the crisis originate and where is unfolding? So here, the media breakdown by volume, it shows us that most of the conversations are coming from Twitter, 98% of them. But it's interesting also to have a look and analyze the audience. And here we see that the news have an equally important audience. So this is usually the case. Online news has traditionally a larger audience, and very often bad buzz that starts on social media can develop then into a full-blown crisis once it has been picked up and journalists write about it in the news. Sometimes the opposite happens. Some crises can originate in the news, maybe following an investigation, and then this will be amplified on social media. So in where top links, you can find the news articles that are being shared the most on social media. Also, you can have a look and understand from a geographical point of view if you're dealing with a generalized phenomenon, or if the crisis has affected only one geographical region for the moment. And last but not least, we have the who analysis. So it's very important to keep an eye here on the list of influencers to see who are the people who are discussing this controversy. It's very important to see if there are any accounts with a big audience that are joining in the conversation. So you can sort the influencers using the ranking, which is measuring the visibility, to see if any such influencers who can amplify the crisis have started to talk about this. You can also sort by the number of mentions, and this will help you identify. Sometimes the same person will post all over again about this problem, so you can identify if potential trolls, for example. And for the Dove crisis, it turned out that actually Elon Musk jumped in and reshared and decided to criticize Dove for their decision. So if something like this happens, of course, it's a huge factor for amplifying the crisis. And if you wish to have a better overview and to understand the network effects, you'll have the influencers network here in WHO that will help you spot the most influential opinion leaders around this controversy. So lots of different graphs, different analyses that can give you valuable insights. And I'm going to let Munir now show you how you can gather all these insights together and set up a dashboard.
Yes, thank you, Mika. All right, so share my screen again here. All right. I guess you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right. So setting up a crisis management dashboard. So during a crisis, it is important not only how you communicate externally, but also internally. And here, Digimind dashboards allow you to create centralized overview of all the crisis-related metrics and share these insights with all the internal stakeholders concerned. So if you come back here to the training platform or the Learning Labs platform for about Dove topic, we can see here that we can create a crisis management topic about Dove, dashboard about Dove. Here we can have valuable insights that we can share with our stakeholders. We can have them sent by email and schedule them, or maybe send them right now if something is really important and we want to share it instantly. So using the crisis management template here, you can set up a predefined dashboard that will group all the metrics of interest. You can further customize it by adding additional widgets, and you can do it from here. So you can schedule them also from the send email, or you can send them as a report directly to your stakeholders. And this will make sure that all the teams involved in the PR management, communication, marketing, or customer service, they are informed of the latest developments. So I will share again with you video tutorials to help you create these templates and also customize them. And after the crisis, the dashboards here will facilitate also a thorough examination of the events from start to finish, and this will ensure your organization learning from all the valuable lessons. So here, to wrap it up, social media is a double-edged sword. So it's fast, it's direct, it's interactive, and it has made it easy to reach stakeholders and share important messages in the blink of an eye. So all the reasons why the medium is so effective when it comes to crisis communications or crisis management, having a pre-prepared crisis management plan is essential. So with the social media monitoring playing a pivotal role in early risk detection, here before the crisis, we can help you detect potential crisis or potential risks early on, buying you vital time. During the crisis, we are making sure you are responding strategically in order to minimize the impact of the crisis and all stakeholders stay informed. And then after the crisis, you have, of course, to learn from the past experiences and contribute to a more resilient reputation management framework. So here, it's now your turn to practice. We will give you access to the platform in order to roll up your sleeve and learn by doing. The platform will remain active for 48 hours, so you can have access to it and learn more. You can use the training@digimind.com as the login email address, and the password is learning with L capital 23 exclamation points.
And you can find the link for the platform. It's already in the chat. And if you forget to save it, don't worry, it is going to be also in the email recap follow-up email that you're going to receive after the session.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you all for attending this this learning tab. Hope you found these best practices useful. The Learning Labs will be back next year in January. We're preparing a new session that's dedicated to a new use case. We are going to keep it a surprise for the moment. You're going to receive the recording of this session and the slides by email, and they're going to be available also on the Digimind Academy. So we highly recommend you to check the content that is available there. Thank you very much for joining today and hope to see you again.